Hey bread friends, here we are again. This is your crazy baker chick Ellen with a gluten-free recipe for you today, and it is for focaccia. Focaccia is like a flatbread. It usually is about, there's garlic on my finger, gets about this thick, somewhere between here and here, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches depending on the focaccia. I make the dough only in the bread machine. Then I take the dough out and I'm gonna spread it in a casserole, and I'm gonna top it with some yummy things like rosemary and Parmesan cheese, and it will be so yummy. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to walk over to the cooktop, but I forgot to warn my videographer. And I'm going to, actually I'm not going to do this yet, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do. I've chopped up, and I'm not quite done, 2 cloves of garlic. After I get the dough going in the bread machine, I'm going to very lightly saute the garlic. You don't want to burn garlic, it will get bitter. And you cannot use a lot of garlic. This is only 2 cloves because it will inhibit the rise. So, in fact, we're not even letting it rise, so it wouldn't really matter, maybe, but I don't want to mess with the yeast too much. So 2 cloves of garlic will be plenty. And while this bread machine is doing its thing, I'm going to be sauteing it to get it ready. So back over here, the ingredients, the base ingredients are the same as for my other gluten-free breads. The ingredients are half and half, 1 egg, grapeseed oil or any neutral oil. I usually tell people don't use olive oil, it's not a neutral oil, it can impart flavor, but actually in this recipe, if you want to use olive oil, it would probably be okay. But I just didn't. Honey, and I normally use Caputo brand gluten-free flour, but I recently found out it is made in a factory with tree nuts. So while I will still use it to bake for my friends who are gluten-free, I don't want to handle it, so I bought a new kind. This company, I've been buying things from them for years. They're called Gerbs, and they're totally everything free. They're all major allergen free, top 14 free. So it has, in fact, this flour has white rice flour, tapioca starch, sorghum flour, sweet white rice flour, and xanthan gum. The unfortunate thing is the size of the bag. I couldn't even get one recipe out of a bag. I had to go into the other bag. So it might not be very economical. I'm not suggesting you use it unless, like me, you are allergic to all of everything of the top allergens, because I was handling the Caputo and that's not nut-free. But this is a fabulous company. If you have a lot of allergies, including gluten, because I am making gluten-free today and that's why you're watching, you may want to check this company out. They're fantastic, fantastic company. All right, so half and half, egg, neutral oil or not, honey, gluten-free flour, salt, butter, and I'm using the SAF instant yeast in the gold label for sweeter doughs because this has 70 grams of honey. Anything above about 40, I use for the sweeter dough, and it definitely works much better. I'm gonna put that bag in the freezer. And I also have the salt, the butter, and the yeast right here. Everything is ready to go in the bread machine. I also have the yummy, wonderful fragrance. Oh, I love the smell of rosemary. So what I'm going to do is put some of this into the bread machine with the liquids. So let me put the liquids in really fast. The half and half, the egg, and I have something to scrape with. And the honey and the oil are together. in there. I put the oil and then put the honey in. A little more. And then I'm going to do the flour, the salt, the butter, and the yeast off camera, but I am going to pull these apart. This is totally a to taste thing. If you are not super crazy about rosemary and you don't want to use a lot, don't use a lot. If you're like, oh man, bring on the rosemary, then you know. So this is going to be what's inside the dough, but we're going to top the focaccia with more. So I'm just going crazy here. All right, I think that's good. So we're going to go off camera while I add the rest, but we're going to turn the camera back on when I'm starting the bread machine because there's some very important information that you need. So all of the ingredients, except for the garlic, are in the bread machine. And when I press start, I'm going to set 2 timers. And I know this can be confusing. So if you have questions, I am an email away, I'm a Facebook tag away, I'm a messenger away, and I'm a YouTube comment away. I always answer really quickly, I promise. Okay, so I'm not using the gluten-free course. I'm using the dough course. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set, I haven't pressed start yet, but when I do, I'm going to set 1 timer for 28 minutes. 28 minutes in dough course is 23 minutes of rest and then 5 minutes of kneading. I'm going to show it to you, but at that point, what I'm going to do is take my spatula and a little measuring cup with some oil in the bottom, and I'm going to scrape down the sides, and you're going to see why I need to do it. I'm also going to set a timer for 44 minutes, because at 44 minutes is when the first knead stops and the rise will begin. We don't want it to rise. I know that sounds crazy, but we don't want it to rise. So again, if you have this machine or an older Zojirushi with a rest, you want to set 1 timer for 28 minutes, 1 timer for 44 minutes. If you don't have this machine, you're going to have to use warm liquids, room temperature egg, softened butter. You're going to press start, and when it starts kneading, you're going to wait 5 minutes and you're going to scrape down. Then you're going to let it go just until your machine stops kneading and starts the rise. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I'm really trying here. So I'm going to start. I've already set it for dough course, which is on my machine, course 11. I'm hitting start and I'm going to set those 2 timers. Hey Siri, set a timer for 28 minutes.
28 minutes, counting down.
Hey Siri, set a timer for 44 minutes.
44 minutes, counting down.
Okay, so in this 28-minute time period, sorry honey, I'm chasing him around the kitchen unintentionally. Well, it's kind of fun. Anyway, I'm going to lightly saute the garlic, and you all know how to saute garlic. And if you don't, just don't do it for very long. You don't want it to turn brown. And I'm just using a little grapeseed oil in the pan. I'll show you what the garlic looks like when I'm done. Can you see how liquidy the dough is? It's not really a dough, it's more like a batter. So right now I have a spatula in just some oil because it's very sticky. And I'm going to just scrape down. Hope you can see. It's harder when I'm doing this by myself. So I'm going to scrape that down. And then I'm going to dump the garlic in. There we go. And I'm going to let it keep going until that 44-minute timer. In the meantime, I've got a rectangular casserole. I think it's about 9 by 13 or 8 by 13, something. Whoop. And I poured some olive oil in there. And I could have just sprayed, but I think I want the taste of olive oil in there. Along with the yummy rosemary, I'm going to be grating some Parmigiana Reggiano that I get from Costco on top of the focaccia. So I grated about 2 ounces, and I didn't even grate it all. So it looks like a lot, but it's, well, you can't ask me, because to me there's no such thing as too much Parmesan cheese. It's like my favorite flavor, along with sesame and chocolate and bacon. So anyway, I would think it was about 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces that I grated. This is a totally per taste thing. So the 44-minute timer went off, and just at the right time, because it was about to rise and I don't want it to. So I'm going over here, and I already showed you that I had prepared this, putting olive oil in there, and that I grated Parmesan, and I have the rosemary, but that is all for the top. Now this is a very, very thin batter. So, and also very sticky. So it's going to be fun, because I know that my paddles are going to come flying out. So I think what I'm going to do is dip my fingers in here. Oh, it's squishy. You can see it's and yuck. And I'm going to put them in my little baby colander that's in there. Wash that off my hands really quickly. Then I'm going to dump that in to the casserole. And I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. That was one way to do it, right? All right, let's see what happens here. Okay. It's a little awkward, people. Gluten-free cooking, baking, but not easy. It's very icky, sticky, goopy, all of those fun words. Almost there. I'm not going to be able to get every drop out, just impossible, but I want to get as much as I can. Okay, I'm gonna get some water in that, and I'm gonna still use this spatula. I need another arm or two, please. Can someone get me one? I will finish doing that in a bit. So what I'm going to do now is just spread this. Kind of like frosting. And there's one more fun thing that I get to do that's typical of focaccia, but I'm going to need some oil. Oh, I don't want to pour that down the sink. So, shouldn't have my wedding ring on right now. I just won't dig in too deep, but what you do is you oil your fingertips and you make dimples. Well, I will be very honest with you. I used this different flour. It is acting different, so the dimple part, not really working too well. Oh well. But if it tastes good, then we're fine. So I'm going to sprinkle the Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to sprinkle on the rosemary, and the garlic's already inside. You saw me put that in. Do you like rosemary as much as I do? I love it. I love it on roast potatoes, the little red potatoes. We cut them into wedges and we roast them in olive oil with salt and lots of yummy rosemary. And by the way, since I'm pretty sure this question will come up, if you don't want to buy fresh rosemary, or if you want to make this like right now and you have everything but the fresh rosemary and you have dried rosemary, go for it. I mean, it's not going to be quite the same taste, but I think it should be fine. All right, when the oven gets to temperature, I'm going to set the timer for about 30 minutes and I'll keep you posted. Well, it just came out of the oven. The focaccia is gorgeous. It smells absolutely incredibly amazing. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So I'm gonna let it cool. It came to 200 degrees, by the way, on 350, and that took 30 minutes. So it just needs to cool before I can cut it, and I'll show you what it looks like and we'll taste it. Well, it's time for the moment of truth. And I gotta tell you that you should be wishing we had Smell-O-Vision YouTube, because oh my gosh, this smells absolutely incredible. Look at that. So I'm gonna grab, oh, Mr. Close-Up is doing his job. I'm going to cut just an itty bitty piece. And I don't have to have fear of eating this one because it's from Gerbs. If you're not allergic to nuts or coconut, I would go with the Caputo. But ouch. Okay. There's the crumb. And honestly, I cannot wait to taste, because you cannot believe how it smells in my kitchen. Oh my God. I only took a tiny because I don't have anything to drink, but it is divine. You can really taste the rosemary, the garlic, the Parmesan. It is absolutely delicious. I think if you made it with the Caputo, the batter wasn't as soupy with the Caputo. Same recipe, same directions, nothing changes except the flour. But if you use it, if you make this with the Caputo gluten-free flour, it will be a little more solid to pour in, and you should be able to make the little dimples, but it's a minor detail. So if you like the ingredients in the Caputo and that works for your family or for your gluten-free person, use that. If you have someone who's highly allergic to a whole bunch of things, Gerbs is the safest, but probably a little more pricey because you saw the size of the bag. And I don't know if they have a bigger bag. I have to go on their website to see. And that would be mygerbs.com. My is an M-Y, GERBS.com. But this focaccia, the first thing I want to say with a slight mouthful is it doesn't taste gluten-free. And you know what I'm talking about. If you are someone who makes and eats gluten-free baked goods, you know there's that certain signature flavor. This doesn't have that. It's absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoyed. I did forget to show you something, and that is where to find the recipe. So let me grab this for you. This is not this recipe. Oh, I have it upside down. So you're watching me in this video window, right? This is just a screenshot. To find the PDF of the recipe, because I didn't give you the amounts, you go down to this lower left corner. You see where I've highlighted more. Your browser might not say more, but that's approximately where you should find the description of the video. And in that description is where I put the link to the recipe, which is a PDF, and the link to my website and my email address. So again, under the video, basically the lower left corner, right there. That is how to find the recipe. If you have trouble, tag me on Facebook. Or go to my website, EllentheBreadMachineRecipes.com. Find me on Facebook. If you put in Ellen Bread Machine, you're going to find me. Whether it's on Google, on YouTube, on Facebook, you're going to find me pretty easily. This is delicious. Enjoy. Yummy, yummy, yummy.